Hi guys, how is everybody doing? Good. Just to introduce myself, I'm Hector Del Valle. I am the art director / designer at Liquid Creative.
And I'm April Schroeder. I'm the president of Liquid Creative and founded the company because I was also a graphic designer.
We're going to show a quick little video of kind of like an intro to the shop, and then we'll kind of get into our presentation.
My name's April Schroeder, and I'm the president and CEO of Liquid Creative. Here at Liquid Creative, we're a comprehensive full-service marketing agency helping clients with full campaign development, branding, and everything from PR to social media to online digital marketing. One aspect that sets us apart at Liquid Creative is that it's our goal to help our clients grow, and we're not only just their vendor or their agency, but we're their partner. So we really look at ourselves as becoming a part of their marketing team or representing them in all of their marketing efforts.
Sweet. So that's really just a little quick intro into like kind of what we're doing at Liquid at the moment. Sweet. All right, so agency life at Liquid Creative. We're just gonna start with kind of going through our mission. This is the thing that we kind of base all of our work on. Anything that comes out of the shop, if it's not, gotten to that point through this mission, then we kind of don't show it to the client. It doesn't leave the shop. So I'll go ahead and read that. So our mission: we propel brands strategically through inspired and purposeful work. Purposeful is very close to me because that's kind of like my design philosophy. I think that any design, it could be really cool looking or really simple, but it has to have a purpose. There's not really a point in doing design work if it's not gonna either make someone do something or make someone feel something. So that's very important to how we do things at Liquid. I don't know if you wanted to touch on anything about that.
No, you hit it on.
All right, cool.
That's our team.
And this is our team. So all of our headshots are us as kids. We thought it would be something different, something you don't normally see. So,
Marion.
Yeah, there's Marion.
Marion also graduated from the program.
From the program as well. So we can kind of go through the staff. I don't know if you want to start.
Sure.
And then
That's me on the far top left. Scott Schroeder, my husband, on the next one. He handles all of our operations and helps with a lot of business development, also known as sales. Hector and Marion, also a graduate of the program here at Santa Fe College. Caitlin Harder on the bottom left, she's our copywriter. Catherine Sims is our executive account manager, so that is the person who is the liaison with the clients. And then Amy Thomas assists Catherine as an account coordinator. And essentially, Amy keeps all the projects running through our studio on time and meets deadlines and makes sure that the production team, like the designers, are meeting the deadlines that need to be given out to the clients.
yeah, so we can kind of talk about the structure of like the organization. Some agencies are a little different. They'll either have certain teams that work on certain accounts and everybody's kind of like siloed. We all work on everything, so we all kind of get our hands in there. So like April said, Amy Thomas is the account coordinator, and she's kind of like the traffic coordinator. So any kind of project, she is the one who gives it to the design team, and then once we do it, we give it back to her, and then she relates everything to Catherine, the account manager. It just makes everything more seamless. It's more eyes on all the work. So it kind of keeps everything cohesive and make sure we don't have any mistakes. Nothing's leaving with, spelling errors or weird graphic things. So again, me, I'm the art director, designer. I kind of do the overall branding for, depending on the client, sometimes if it's a full rebrand or down to like just a website. So I'll kind of concept all the art and what it's gonna look like, the look and feel of it. And then once that's approved by the client, then we'll go ahead and start building out the rest of the assets that are gonna be involved in the project. And Marion specifically builds all of the websites, and then she helps with other design work as well. And then Caitlin Harder, she's the copywriter. I always say copy influences any design, so having a strong copywriter is key. We were always looking for a good copywriter, and Caitlin's really good at it. So if if you're ever looking at an agency, definitely make close relationships with the copywriter because they have great ideas as well. And obviously, it's not going to be anything graphic, but that's kind of like inspiration for us as designers to take that and blow it out basically. So, whoa, going crazy. All right, so this is just a little bit about what we do, kind of all the services that we provide in-house. I don't know if you want to touch on them.
So full service agency, we are everything from branding to video services and in between. Digital marketing is something that, as you were probably aware, is really a need now for most businesses and most of our clients. So we do a lot of that. Strategic marketing plans, we write marketing plans. We do web design, a lot of web design. Content creation ties kind of back into the digital, and it ties into SEO. So we do a lot of, with content creation, we do a lot of blogging for our clients, writing their social media content for them, and then Hector and the designers can create the graphics to go with that. Social media, we do a lot of social media, not only the content, but then managing it for our clients. So our account management team will help to monitor our clients' social media feeds, make suggestions, recommendations, ensure that their posts are getting posted on time, boosting their post if they have a media buy budget to help get a broader reach. And then public relations, we assist our clients with everything from PR efforts to community involvement, suggestions and recommendations, just other ways to try to get our clients seen and visible, whether it be online or in the community or in their market. And then the video as well.
Great. I'll tap this one late. Okay, cool. So this slide outlines kind of the process and how we onboard clients. So we'll start with the evaluate section. So we really, at Liquid, we start with our discovery process where we try to learn as much as we can from the client to really get a feel for their business, whatever that may be. At that point, we basically have to learn as much as we can about it. Sometimes it's easier than others. We currently have a client that's it's like an engineering firm, but it's super crazy technical. So we definitely like to dive in. Part of our discovery process, we are all involved, but we interview a bunch of people. So we'll do a lot of phone screenings. We'll interview people that work there, people that have used their services, any external stakeholders, stuff like that, to really get a frontline sense of what's happening. It's basically stuff that you can't find on someone's website. It's like rooting through the trash, essentially.
And we do that before we start the design process, before we start our creative process and our brainstorming. And like Hector said, it's our research phase. We call it discovery, but it's essentially it's really important before you begin a project, as you know. You've been trained, so it's just a different approach.
Push that point.
Yeah, we really believe in this. It's a big part of our process, and we pride ourselves in it because it's unique to us. I don't know that a lot of agencies do this discovery research as in depth as we do. So it's something we're really proud of, and our clients are impressed with it.
Yeah.
And we know that it shows for the best outcomes in the end when you put that time in up front.
Yeah, so the research is huge. Definitely helps get the wheels turning and stuff like that. So we also collect the assets. So if there's anything that the client has that we need, logos, specific photos that they use, anything that's in brand with their brand, if they're not rebranding, we need all that stuff. So that's kind of where we start collecting everything. And then we do a competitive analysis, which is part of the research phase. So just seeing who's in the market that they're, competing with, and just seeing what's different, what's the same about them. And again, that kind of helps with developing a strategy, which is the next part. So in between each phase, there's a little stop sign. So we like to pause in between each of these phases just to make sure we regroup with the client and make sure that we're on the right track before continuing to do any other work. I think back in the day, it used to be more like, the client would come, tell us what they wanted, and we'd kind of go behind the curtains and disappear for months, and then show them something, and that's very scary. These pauses help us kind of recollect, configure everything, and just make sure we're on the right track.
And the clients like it because it keeps them involved throughout the whole process. So for example, if it's a website that we're building for them, they're a part of the process, and they get a chance to be presented the different stages. Whether the first stage that we go to them and present is our discovery findings, and they're really excited to hear that feedback about their own brand, their own company, especially if we're working directly with the owner. And then the second pause, we're presenting to them the next step, the creative brief. And then the third pause is where we start to, the third stop sign is where we're starting to present them actual creative mock-ups. And it's exciting when you put yourself in the client's perspective. If you owned your own business and you were hiring a designer or an agency to design your brand for you, that's something personal. Even the website is personal. It's all very important. And I think the customers find value in the fact that we include them along the process. Not too much, because we don't want to bother them. They're hiring us to take that off their plate. But I think that they really do appreciate that involvement. And like Hector said, it prevents us from going all the way through the process of building a website and then they don't like it at the end. So it allows us to have some checkpoints, which is important. I recommend that.
For sure. So after we evaluate, we strategize. So that's still nothing is designed yet at that point. We're still, developing the concepts, what we want the messaging to be, what we want the brand to look like. We kind of pick and choose what sets them apart from other competitors. And then we kind of come up with the creative brief, which is basically what we found, where they're at now, where they think they are going, and kind of that's where the tactics start coming into play, which is the next part, which is the approach. So tactics is exactly what we're going to do. If it's, if we need to make a campaign specifically for Facebook or stuff like that. So that's where the specifics start coming into play. And that's finally where the designers come in. So we take basically all the information that we've gathered in the previous two steps and develop basically just a creative sample. It's not a real piece of work. It's basically just an image of what the brand could potentially look like. And we always remind clients it's not real yet. So people kind of tend, when they see their logo on something, they're like, oh my God, this is done. It's going to print. And we're like, no, like just chill. It's basically just for you guys, for them, to get a sense of what it's going to look like eventually. So copy and designers get together, kind of work what we're going to do, and then the samples come out. And then again, we present that kind of creative concept to them, walk them through the process, how we got there, why we did this, and why we chose these colors and stuff like that. And they, for the most part, are always like, yay. And then that's when we go into the implement stage, where we actually start creating and doing. So, and the go live is, it's not like everything, we don't like to just dump the whole brand out at once. It's kind of like we kind of slowly filter it out, because that makes people nervous, especially from the customer standpoint, because if, you've been with a trusted brand or using something for a long time and all of a sudden it's totally different everywhere, then people lose their sense of, the pride that they had with the brand. So we kind of try to just filter it in slowly.
Like a soft rollout.
Like a soft rollout.
Or a soft launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's our process. Does anyone have any questions so far? Cool. So these are our values that we kind of basically determine the culture that is kind of at Liquid. So we can kind of go through them real quick. So we believe in potential. Every client has a potential to be better than they are. That's why they hire us. So they know that there's, they can get higher. We're always deliberate. That kind of goes back to our mission. We're not just going to do something because we think it's cool and it doesn't really resonate with the brand. So every piece of work that comes out is very deliberate. We are fierce. We're very spunky. We're all very different. But we like to put out good work. We like to play hard and work hard. We celebrate success. That's a big one for us. I think it's important to celebrate when you do something really well. That could be a website, that could be landing an awesome client. Really anything where we've gone above and beyond, we like to celebrate that and recognize it in the office. There's a little thing that we have, it's called the snap jar. So basically if someone goes above and beyond in the office, we have these little sheets that you kind of write the person's name and then what they did. And we put them in this jar, and then every quarter we'll count them up. And then the person who gets the most snaps gets bragging rights. You get this cool medal that you get to keep for the next 3 months, and then you get a $25 gift card. So it's kind of a thing to keep people motivated. Again, yeah, it's really fun. It's always fun to count them at the end of the quarter. People get competitive and they want the medals. So yeah, we read them because we used to just put people's names in there, but then we were like, we need to know why, and that really helps people's confidence and just
Do they ever nominate themselves?
No, no one's.
Not that I know of.
I think that's a given
I have to
that you're
start
not
checking
supposed to.
people's handwriting.
I know, right?
And then the last one, we know how to stop, collaborate, and listen. So listening is very important to us. We really need to listen to the client and what their needs and wants are, and then kind of work our magic and our strategy and kind of pair those together. You guys are probably too young to know, but that's Vanilla Ice's head. So that's kind of where the inspo for that
Some people
came
get
from.
It. I know.
So yeah, so we really we've created a nice culture at the office. Again, we work hard, we play hard. Some days it's crazy in there, and people are like glued on the computers, and it's quiet. I mean, we have music playing, but nobody's talking. And then some days it's, you know, everybody's kind of hanging out and still getting work done, but it's more of like a relaxed vibe. So it depends. You'll notice if you start working at an agency that that's primarily how it is. It's not the same day every day, which is awesome. So if, you know, it'll never get stale, basically. So
it's an open environment, our office is, so
yes,
it's a collaborative workspace. We all work at these long, big tables, which I think you saw a glimpse of in the video. And so it's nice because you can literally just talk next door to your copywriter or your designer and say, hey, what do you think of this? And it's just very collaborative, which we believe in. That is an important part of the design process and the advertising and marketing process for creative to be its best. So.
definitely.
But then on the other hand, it can be hard when you're trying to get a deadline done and somebody's talking to you.
Yep. That's why we got headphones.
We all have headphones. Every new employee gets a set of nice headphones. That's like a part of their onboarding, like welcome to the team gift on their first day. And they don't realize how important those headphones are going to be, but about a month in, they're like, wow, thank you for these. And you'll see them over there like working away with their headphones on sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah, it's a fun space. I mean, like I don't work there all the time. Like I mean, for the most part I do. But if I want to go work offsite somewhere, I can go work offsite, kind of clear my head, get away from the space. If I'm feeling like I need to just be in a different environment for the creative process. So it's definitely open. Like April said, it's fun.
Yeah.
We have this room called the Dunk Tank, where it's kind of our the space to go away if you need to make a call or if you just need like a second to chill and think about stuff. So that's kind of another little space that we have. That's the only other space in the office that's like enclosed. Everything else is all open. So
it's a cool little room. It has, you know, like a cool white leather couch, and it's just like a little living room, it feels like.
Yeah, it's basically a living room.
But because we have such a big open shared office space, the little dunk tank room is nice to pop into if you need to make a phone call or have a little one-on-one meeting with somebody about something.
Yeah.
So it's neat.
Yeah.
We welcome you guys to come by anytime you want to
come
see
by.
our agency. We'd love to have you.
Doing tours.
Yeah, you should totally come over.
Yeah, the cool thing about our space is that we donate the rest of the building, the other half, to the Gainesville Fine Arts Association. So we have a gallery, an art gallery in the office. So it's even better for like just getting inspired. If you can just go walk around in the gallery, look at the art for the month. They switch them out every month, so every month there's like new art in there. So it's great. It's definitely an interesting space to be in. So you'll see a lot of crazy artists come in.
Yeah.
They'll pop into our office like, oh, we're looking for something. And so it's fun. And that's basically it for the portion about the agency and kind of how we do things there. So basically we can open up to Q&A. If you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them as best we can.
It was great, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, questions?
Yeah, let us know what questions we have. Go ahead.
Not really a question, I just, some comments.
Sure.
I noticed that a lot of agencies try to have like an all-in-one kind of mentality where like the designer is also the copywriter, or they maybe don't do as much research or have that. Seems like you guys have like a definite plan of how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just admire that a lot, and I think
Thank you.
those separate roles is probably really important.
Yes.
Definitely,
it is.
yeah. I mean, all those positions are very important to the collective of the brand. So, I feel like having a designer that's trying to write copy, it's just not good. Kind of spreads them too thin. Their head is in like a bunch of different places where they can't really focus. So, we really try to make sure each person has a very specific role in the agency. Just makes everything smoother, and overall the work is better. So.
Yeah, and I think the client will probably appreciate
Yeah.
being involved, because I feel like a lot of times clients
Yeah.
And then they don't really feel like they're really
Exactly.
involved. So
Yes.
I think you've got a great model.
Thank you. That's important to us too. And I can understand being a business owner. If you hire a vendor to do something for you, you want to know where your money's going and what's happening. And so communication is really important. And that's what our account executive's job is to communicate, keep the client up to speed and in the loop. Because if they don't hear from you for 2 or 3 weeks, they may be like, what's going on over there at Liquid Creative? I haven't heard from anybody. So we try really hard to just be very communicative, and that's the account executive's role. So if you're starting out, as a freelancer, just take that into consideration and remember to, keep your customer really, up to speed on what you're working on and where your status is, and let them know about the deadline and the timelines. We didn't talk about timelines.
Yes.
Another part of our process is doing a timeline for each project before we begin. So once the client approves the quote or the proposal, we put together a timeline, and that has become something that we integrated just a couple years ago, and the clients find big value in that because it just shows them then, okay, on this date you're doing this date we're going to meet and you're going to show me this date, and then at the bottom, here's when our project wraps up. Not only is it helpful for the customer, it's helpful for us because it keeps the project on track. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things I think in our industry is, and you could probably relate, is clients like to fall off of the deadline wagon, and so you're constantly, as the designer or the agency, saying, hey, I need that approval from you so I can get your project moving forward again, and then they're busy running their business. They just don't have time right now to look at the logo that you designed or to look at the brochure. Mm-hmm. So we found that doing the timeline has really helped keep the customer on track, and they know just from out of the gates, here are the dates that I need to let Liquid Creative know something by. Mm-hmm. And it's really kept our projects running more on schedule.
Definitely. Yeah. So we work on clients on a retainer basis and then a one-off basis. So retainer basis, they basically pay us a monthly fee, and they get a certain amount of hours, and we basically do within those hours we do whatever the strategy, what we're trying to implement. So we become basically their agency. So we're doing everything for them, and then the one-off projects, it's just if someone needs like an annual report done, then we'll take those on as well, depending on the project. For the retainer clients, our account executive meets with them on a standing monthly meeting. So that's when they get their updates on how their social media is doing, any analytics that we need to present, just kind of what we've been working with on for the month. So basically, again, just keep them in the loop. Sometimes they can't meet every month, but we just try to communicate with them as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, yes.
How many projects do you take on at a time?
It varies.
Oh man, yeah.
It's a good question, and we don't have a set rule. It just really kind of rotates. So we have the retainer type business, like Hector said, is an ongoing, where those are clients that are under contract with us to be their agency. And so we have those set of business that we're managing monthly. And then project-wise, those kind of ebb and flow. We love a lot of them, obviously, but sometimes, there's not as many in the shop going on. I would say it depends on the size. We have small projects where we're just designing an annual report or a brochure, and then we have big projects that are project-based, one-off type work where we're rebranding an entire company, and those take longer and they're a lot larger scale. Or a large website design, for example, would be a project style work.
Yeah, I would say
really
right now.
rotates.
Yeah, I think right now we have around maybe 10 to 15 retainer clients, and then everything else is like one-offs.
Yeah.
But like April said, sometimes the one-off clients, it's like a 6-month project or like a 3-month project.
Yeah.
So it really just depends.
Depends on the
what
scope of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Why did you? So you're the owner of Liquid Creative, correct? So why did you decide to open up that business?
It's a great story. So I started out as a student here at Santa Fe, got a graphic design certificate, and then I transferred to UF and got a bachelor's in advertising. So I did my track a little reverse from Hector's. And once I started at UF, I decided I was going to quit my day job and focus my schooling at UF full time, and so I could get done. And then I decided at that same time I needed some income, so I was going to freelance and kind of just start a little business, if you will, out of my living room. And I did that. And that business is called Marketing Mud, and it's a promotional product company. So the swag items brought to you today are from my other company, Marketing Mud. And I was able to start that business really easily because I had the graphic design background. So I could set up the artwork, set up the logos to go on those items, and be a reseller and help people with their promotional products. And my husband at the time, I had just gotten married, he had the connections through his job for people who might need to order pens or logos or products with their logo on them. So it was a really good fit. It helped me get through my career at UF, my schooling at UF. And then that little business marketing mud kind of took off and it blew up on me and got bigger than I expected it to. And so when I graduated UF, long story short, my business was going strong, and I thought to myself, well, now why would I walk away from this? It's really up and running pretty well. But at that point, I realized that I wanted to take it to be bigger than just a promotional product company. I wanted an agency. I had just studied advertising at UF, and I wanted to be able to offer more than just graphic design. So we decided, my husband and I, to launch a separate company, Liquid Creative, and make it be the full service ad agency that does the branding and the web design and everything, and leave Marketing Mud as it intended, which was just a promotional products company. And that is what we still have today. Mm-hmm. And they go hand in hand really well, as you can imagine, because at Liquid Creative, which is the majority of our clients and our employees are all housed by Liquid Creative, we have clients that we do branding for and work for, and then we're able to say to them, we can also help you get that printed or get your uniforms, done for you with our sister partnering company, Marketing Mud. Mm-hmm. So it's a good fit, but that's how it started.
How long has it been?
12 years this month. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys gonna celebrate?
We should.
Yeah.
We celebrate.
Celebrate, for sure.
We like to
Pops and
celebrate.
bottles.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. Yeah.
I guess I have a question on how y'all take in new people. When y'all look to hire someone, do y'all take, like, what's the procedure like?
For hiring employees?
Yeah, like, do you take in like new employees that just finished?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hector was
do you take
Yep.
good example.
Yeah, I interned at Liquid like for a month after I graduated from this program, and then I got hired. So
He was that good.
yeah.
Yeah, we
So,
we have an internship program through here at Santa Fe. We love to have a graphic design intern if we can, and then we also have interns that come to us from UF's advertising program. And we typically try to have 2 to 3 interns a semester. Sometimes we only have 1 in the summer. And we often find from the intern program our best talent that results then in a job down the road. So yeah, that's happened quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
But if it's not somebody straight out of college and it's, somebody that's switching careers or switching companies, we have an interview process. So we'll post that we are hiring on our website. We have jobs that we post, and then they interview, based on their resume skills and then their portfolio if it's a design position. And then we have an interviewing process, and it's kind of how it works.
Yeah, most of the team is involved in the interview process because you have to have the skills, but you also have to have like a cultural fit to the group, because we've noticed like in the years that we've been there, we've hired some people that have amazing resume, amazing skills, but they just don't fit. And then like that fit, it kind of hinders like the process a little bit. So that's why we kind of have everyone talk to potential employees. Just makes it, it's more collaborative, 1, and then 2, we get a real sense of like who you are as a person on top of what you can do. So
So in that, when you're looking for employees, because we're all about to kind of mostly go out into the world, what is it that when someone first, let's say it's like a cold call, or maybe you don't know them through the community, what is it that you're looking for in a cover letter and a resume, that makes them stand out generally to you?
I would say if you're a designer, which you all are, creativity. So make your resume pop, make it stand out, make it look creative, make it reflect your personality. So brand yourself, create your own branding identity, and I'm sure you guys have probably done that as a project. Yeah. I remember that project as a student. So yeah, I think that's probably key, because as the employer, I'm getting a lot of resumes emailed to me, and I scroll through them, and if I'm a former designer, so I know when I see something that looks good aesthetically, and so it'll stand out to me, and so you want to make sure you stand out. And then I would follow up with an email to me. So yeah, email the owner of the company, email whoever you can find on their website that you might think would be the decision maker, and just do an introductory email and say, hey, I wanted to let you know that I submitted my resume online, or here's my resume attached, whatever their process is that they've asked for. And then if you don't hear anything back, give it a few days, a week, call. and try to follow up with a phone call and just,
Yeah, I think calling is
shows-
huge because people don't call anymore.
no, people don't.
So I think calling definitely makes more of an impression than
Yeah.
just sending an email. We get bombarded with emails
We get tons of
all
emails.
day. So calling is, I think it's pretty key.
And it shows initiative. It shows that you really are serious about that job and you're passionate about wanting to work there. And yeah,
Yeah, and obviously the portfolio,
Yes.
that's really like the selling point.
Yes.
So just make sure that's very tightened up and really put stuff in there that shows like a range of what you can do. Don't try to like pigeon yourself into like maybe what your style, your favorite
Yeah.
style is. You want to kind of show the breadth and depth of
show
your
some-
skills.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely go all out on that. You know, logos, websites, really anything, makeup stuff that you can, you know, take like a random company and rebrand it on your own to really just show like your skills. Usually, I think those projects, the outcome is always better when you kind of are on your own and you're rebranding some company that's pretty well known. I think it's a chance for you to really show off your skills and what you can do. So yeah, definitely have a wide range of stuff in your portfolio. Different color palettes, you know, typography is very important. So
Yes.
things don't, don't put your portfolio with every piece has like the same, kind of type.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
which I know personally it's hard. Like once you're like designing a bunch of stuff, you're like, oh, I love this font. I want to use it on everything.
Get
but
comfortable.
you gotta get out of that
Yeah.
like mindset because you definitely don't want to pigeon yourself down in a hole. So.
It's true.
And yeah, make the portfolio easy to like understand and easy to look at. Obviously, there's like a million portfolio sites now. You can have a site on Squarespace. You can have your Behance. So whatever is the easiest way to showcase what you can do, and having little explanations of how you got to those pieces always helps too. Can kind of see like where you're coming from.
Yes, that's important.
From your brain. So
Yeah, because think about the end user. If they're just looking at a portfolio and they see, a brochure, but they're not sure, did you create all the art in that? Did you do the photo shoot? Is
what
it
was
stock
the intent?
photo?
Like
what was the
what's
intent?
it for? Kind
What was
of
the
thing.
client's goal? So try to write up a little brief for each piece that you're presenting.
Yeah.
And that way, if you're not there in person to explain it and you're emailing it to them ahead of time, they can at least read your little creative brief, I call it, for each piece of art. And they can see, oh, wow, he actually did the photo, or he used a stock photo, but look at all the cool treatment he applied to it. He does know his skills. He knows how to use InDesign. He's,
Yeah, because what if, you have this awesome photo and then you have a design or whatever, but maybe they don't like the design, but they love the photos you took. Like, there's always, like, different avenues to kind of make get your foot in the door, essentially, so.
True. Yeah.
I guess to go along with that, are there any do's and don'ts for interviews?
Do's and don'ts.
We have mock interviews today, just so you know.
Ah, okay.
Oh, good. Great.
I wish they would have done that when I was going
Yeah,
through this.
that's a great idea.
I had the idea.
I like it.
Jorge Ibanez.
Yeah.
Does the mock interviews.
Oh, I love it.
That's
Perfect.
awesome.
He's great. So do's. Be professional. Ask questions back to the employer. So oftentimes in an interview, you feel like you're being asked all the questions and you're doing all the talking and answering. But I think it's impressive when an interviewee asks me questions about, like you did, how did you start your company? Or what, tell me about the culture of this company. Ask some, questions in that sense. I think that's pretty impressive, and it shows that you care and that you're almost interviewing as well to work at that place. That's good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously look professional. I don't know. I lean on more of like the less stuffy like attire. So obviously look nice, but don't show. I mean, I wouldn't show up in like a suit and a tie and like like a 3-piece suit. Because at the end of the day, we're creatives, and most agencies, the creative team is a little more lax, but don't like show up in jeans and like a t-shirt. So just keep it, professional, but definitely show your style and who you are. Be talkative. I don't know. I think as designers, even when I was going through the program, I was more like reserved as a person. So kind of getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, I think helps a lot. We usually focus a lot like behind the computer and stuff like that. So kind of training yourself and building yourself up to be able to just talk, I think is like great. And I always look like if we're interviewing for interns or whoever it may be, like that's kind of a thing I look at, like make sure you can talk and be comfortable talking. because we all present stuff in meetings as well, so that's kind of like another skill that is kind of being interviewed for secretly.
Yeah.
So just presenting your work, being able to talk about it, speak to it, I think is very important, because if you're in a meeting and a client asks you something about it, if you don't know what to say, that's kind of like, ooh,
Or
like
you know what to say, but you don't answer it
in
professionally.
the way that you know.
Yeah, so we look for that in our employees. We want them to be able to carry on a dialogue in a client meeting and be able to present and represent the company in a client meeting.
Yeah.
And be able to just have those soft skills, like social skills, to be able to, you don't have to stand up and give the whole pitch. That might be the account executive's job or the art director's job. But if you're there and the client asks you a direct question, you're at the table, you need to be able to.
Yeah, just gonna be on your toes a little bit. Always have, talking points in the back of your head at all times. When you're preparing for an interview or whatever, write down stuff before you go in there, just so you have like your talking points already like in your brain. You might not have every single piece that you're gonna say, but just some points that you can kind of touch on.
That's really good advice. So a good tip is to go into an interview with a little notepad of some talking points. I think that's totally appropriate, and it impresses me when I see that. So you're not just showing up with your resume, which definitely bring your resume printed out always. I know you email it to them in advance and you assume that they have it, but I'm busy, and so when the interviewee walks in the door, I'm like, shoot, I forgot to print her resume. Hopefully she'll have one. And 9 times out of 10 they do, but sometimes they don't. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, I didn't get the chance to print your resume. So always bring a printed resume, and then bring a little notepad with some talking points so you don't forget. And it's okay to look down at that and reference your pad, your notes, and then take notes too. That makes it look like you're, really listening and engaged.
And definitely prepare before, research the company that you're interviewing. Just kind of gather some information about them. You can definitely bring that up in the interview, like, oh, I read on your site that blah, 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 blah. And, so just know who you're about to talk to. Even if they don't have a website, that person or like that company, if the person that you're interviewing for, they probably have a LinkedIn. They probably have like something out there. Yeah. Just do some research. Just dig around. Just to have something that you can kind of connect with them more on a personal level versus just like straight skills that you have. So. And
to the reverse of that, button up your social media. Make sure it's presentable if you're in the job interviewing phase of life and you're out there, because I can assure you that those social media outlets are going to be looked at by an employer.
Yes.
So your LinkedIn's going to be looked at for sure. Your Facebook's going to be looked at. Your Instagram's going to be looked at for sure, because you're creatives. So I look at Instagram to see, what is Hector, if I were interviewing him, what is he doing on his Instagram? Is he active? It doesn't matter if he's not or not but if he is, like, is it creative? What's his style? What's he into? You know, I mean, you can tell a lot about a person's personal preferences when it comes to creativity by looking at their Instagram, right?
Sure, definitely.
So, and it's kind of fun. So I would definitely suggest making sure that, your social media is up to par and nothing's unprofessional.
Yeah, I think there was this girl that came to interview for an internship, and she was awesome. And whenever she left and whatever, we just, did our little research. And we, on her Facebook, I think her profile picture was like her playing beer pong or something. And we were like, I mean, you just ruined it. Why did you do it? I don't know. It's just like, we want people that are fun, but keep it professional too.
Right. Yeah.
So, and that probably goes for most agencies.
Yeah.
So.
I would assume.
Yeah. So.
Any other questions about the interview process or any other process?
Not about interviewing or any process, I guess. But I wanted to ask, do you get to create a lot yourself? Because I know you went to the graphic design program.
Yeah.
But do you actually do any creative?
No, I don't anymore, because I hired 2 people who are way more talented than myself. Hector and Marion are so much more creative. So yeah, I don't sit at the computer and do the design anymore. I do miss it, I have to say. And I love, looking and reviewing the art with them. That's probably, to me, something I get just as excited about. But yeah, I do miss it sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just so much better than I am. So.
It's a fun job for sure.
And I was gonna say in reverse, since you guys did the same thing but opposite, do you do you do more of the advertising, or sorry, I'm wording this wrong way, but you do the creative part.
Correct.
Do you do the advertising part? I guess
like the strategy kind of part. Yeah, I definitely help in that as well. So back to going to like the discovery process after we kind of go through all that and kind of sit and develop the tactics. I definitely am in those meetings. It definitely helped having a marketing background before doing design, or vice versa. Because I think the creative part is what people are going to see, but the back end part, which is like getting to that point, is equally as important, because you really have to know who you're speaking to. So again, it goes back to kind of that mission of designing with a purpose. So yeah, having that kind of background knowledge, I think it's great to have.
Yeah,
because that's essentially the world you're going to be in. I mean, we are, like, I'm on the creative side, but we're still, as a team, that is the business we're in, marketing and advertising. So definitely helps to have that kind of knowledge.
Yeah, and I mean, like, back to the mission again with the purpose-driven work. It doesn't make sense to create something that looks really cool and pretty, but if it's not going to work for the client or bring them sales or, achieve their goal, whatever their goal is, then it's really useless. So everything we create has to have that, knowledge behind it, which is why we do so much time on the front end with research and understanding the target audience, their goals, the purpose of the piece. So that's really, can't put enough emphasis on how important that is.
And then a follow-up really quick to that, would you suggest going and doing like advertising afterwards, if that's like the road like I wanted to go down? Would you suggest going and getting like an advertising degree or doing some sort of study on it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have the time and the means to go on and get a degree in advertising, that is going to make for a dynamic duo. Having those two, it makes you very marketable. Or a marketing degree. Hector has his degree in marketing from UF, and mine was in advertising from UF. It will definitely set you up for, bigger and better jobs. If you don't have that time, because that's an extra, probably 2 to 4 years of college, then study up on it. Make sure you're reading the latest, news, journals, trends, blogs. Ad Age, Ad Week. Those are 2 publications I highly recommend getting a subscription to. And right now, as a student, you can get a really great student rate subscription. And read up on those 2. Their websites are really informative. Latest trends in advertising, latest trends in marketing, and it's design related, obviously. So you'll find that you're interested in it, but it's going to have a little bit more of the marketing strategy behind the design, which is what an employer wants to hear, that you are well versed in that. Yeah. So read up on advertising, just to kind of make sure you're in the knowledge of what the latest is.
And it also gets you in the head of like the lingo that's used kind of in the industry and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely read up on it.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
So what was like? Wait, what was my question? What is like everyday life at the office? Like,
Everyday
who
life?
gets there?
Yeah.
That's fun to talk about.
Yeah. So when I usually get there, usually before everyone, I make coffee because I have to have coffee. When I sit down at the computer, I don't just start working right away. I usually just sit and kind of look at stuff like blogs that I follow. I'll go on Behance or on Dribbble, just kind of like just see what's new, what are people working on, and then after that, kind of like sets me in the mood for the day, and that's when I kind of start working. So how it works at Liquid, our account coordinator kind of handles everyone's calendars. So she is the one that's putting work on everyone's calendars. So when I go in there, I'll have my calendar, I'll see what my tasks are for the day, and then I basically just start working. So I knock them out. We have this software called Pulse, and it's our project management software. It's all online based, and that's where we keep track of any info that the client sends, edits to pieces, contracts, stuff like that. So it's also our time management tool, so we can track how long things are taking. That helps obviously for the one-off projects, because if it's not hourly, it's like a bundle price. And then for the retainer clients, the hours help just to know like how long things are taking. Because if we feel like they need more hours to get to what we need to do to get them to the next level, then we'll suggest it to them. But yeah, that's essentially what kind of the day is for me in the start. We all take little breaks. I don't like to sit at the computer for 8 hours a day. I like to get up, walk around, go to the store, get lunch. I think those little breaks are very important for designers. I used to just sit there and like not move. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your eyes. I had to get like special glasses because the glare was like bugging me. So yeah, definitely take breaks. Don't feel like you have to just like sit there and plug and chug and just, relax. But yeah, it's a fun atmosphere. We're always, talking about stuff that's not related to work sometimes. We'll pull up memes, like whatever we're working on. And we have a client that's, they make cat furniture, and it's a local company. And so that's always a fun one because we always look for funny cat puns that we can build into their stuff. So
we made a post yesterday on our social. If you check it out,
Yeah.
you'll see it. It's Hector holding up a piece of we did package design for them.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And we used some cute cat puns on our creative writing.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
So yeah, that's basically the day-to-day. Everybody's kind of knows what they're doing. Like once they get there, they know exactly what they need to be working on for the day. And obviously things change all the time. So that's why that position, the account coordinator, is very crucial, because if something comes in that's an emergency, she'll shift calendars, shift duties and responsibilities, just so we can get the stuff done that needs to be done. So yeah, it's very collaborative, like you said. It's fun. We always got music playing. So.
What kind of music do you play?
That's a funny question. So I've always been the DJ at the office. And it's very
He's really
stressful. Because it kind of sets the mood and the tone in the office. So
It's almost like a job in itself.
it really is.
It is.
People don't know. So we tried this little experiment where we all got DJ names, and then we had a board, and then every week it would rotate to whoever's controlling the music. Because we have a Sonos, so everybody can like tap into it. And so it lasted maybe for like 2 weeks.
I know.
And then those two people were
nobody
like,
played their
"This is
music.
so hard. Like, I don't know what to play." So I usually play it.
But you pick the best music.
It's a mix. Sometimes it's like disco. Sometimes it's like house music. Sometimes it's like folk music. So I kind of
We
keep
rotate.
it like fresh every day. So.
Throwback Thursdays.
Yeah,
one of our
we
favorite
do that.
playlists.
Yeah, so we use Spotify.
It's our old school jams.
Yeah. So we have a mix of
It's a good day.
people and personalities. So we try to rotate through it.
Yeah.
Country's the one thing that I usually don't play, and I just let someone else play it if they want. But other than that, I'm pretty open.
We never have really played classical.
We don't actually.
We should. That's
yeah,
really.
we should.
that
We
could-
do like ambient music sometimes, or it's just like nice music to have in the background. But yeah, we never do classical.
Yeah, we should do that.
We should try it.
This classical's got some cool stuff in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so more questions?
Yes.
Yes.
What kind of groups or networking do you guys do outside of work?
Great question.
Personally or
Yeah.
So
mentorships,
yeah,
anything like that?
so we're involved in a lot of organizations professionally. We are members of the local AdFed Association, which I recommend that you all as well look into. The local Florida Public Relations Association, their acronym is FPRA, which is what they go by. So we're members of both of those associations, which are really true professional associations that relate directly to what we do. And those have been really great networking connections for us. Whether I attend the monthly luncheon meeting, they have luncheon meetings every month, or my husband Scott does, or Hector does. We try to have somebody from our company go. And then there's an annual conference that both of those associations do. So we'll try to go to the conference every year. It's just a good way to meet people that have actually led to a lot of clients.
Yeah, for sure.
So a lot of our customers we've met through networking in those two. And then outside of professional organizations, we also network a lot just through community involvement. So I'm a member of the Junior League of Gainesville. My husband's a member of the Rotary of Gainesville. I'm on the board of directors for the Education Foundation because it's something I'm passionate about. It's a public schools education foundation. So trying to just really get involved and serve on different community boards is a good way to network yourself and get to know people while also giving back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm part of AFED. I was past president. I was president 2 years in a row, and before that, I was. What did I do? God, I remember that was so long ago.
The Addy chair.
Addy chair. I was also the district Addy chair last year. So
You've done
yeah,
well.
definitely get involved. The Addies is a big opportunity to meet people.
Yeah.
Not so much. I mean, the local is good, but the district one, if you want to like get a job outside of the city, that's a great place to go network because I mean those are like the big agencies in Florida and the Caribbean. Our district is Florida and the Caribbean, so I mean there's like powerhouses there. I mean they had the agency who did all. Have you heard of Narcos? It's a Netflix show. So the agency who did everything for them was there, and they won. They like clean house, but they do like amazing work. So like it's definitely a good place to see work and kind of connect the agencies that do it and just really follow up on them, see what's up, and just make relationships. That's all you can do in the beginning, and and then once you make that relationship, kind of see if there's any opportunities there to explore.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm kind of interested in adult mentoring, like
Oh yeah.
Professional mentoring, and being a mentee at this point.
Cool.
Have you guys ever considered doing that? Is that something that happens here in Gainesville?
We have not, but I like the idea of that. I mean, we sort of do it through our internship program, but I hear what you're saying, more of a after you've graduated, kind of having a mentor. Yeah, we've never done that, but it's something I'd be open to. Yeah. And I don't know of anybody in town locally that is doing that I'm aware of. Yeah, I'm not aware of an association or anything that organizes that.
Yeah, and I don't know if any of like the other agencies in town do that, just from like my knowledge of what they do. But it's definitely good. It's a great idea.
I mean, how would you, if someone was interested in like a mentorship, how
would it work?
Do that? Like, what would you just go like write an email? Hey, I love your work. Can you mentor me?
Yes.
I guess so.
Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I know AIGA Orlando has a mentorship program that they do, and it's with graduates or recently graduated students,
Oh, okay.
and then with businesses there,
Yeah.
business owners and stuff. But
So, yeah,
and I
you
know
could-
personally, I know someone who has been mentored, and they were not in the same business at all, but she chose that person as a mentor, asked them to be her mentor because they developed their business so well. She's like, you understand business.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Yeah, and it might not even be like a formal mentorship thing. Like I have a few. I mean, they're my friends, but they've been working longer than I have in the industry and are creative. So if I ever have a question or I need advice, I will set up meetings with them, go hang out with them, just to pick their brain. We're all doing essentially kind of the same thing, but it's just different. So it's really nice to hear like how people are doing things in other places. So yeah, it might not be like I said, like a specific program, but definitely make those connections with people that have been in the industry for a long time. Yeah.
So, you had a question?
Yeah. It's a rather personal one, I guess. But I was wondering if there were any designers that you look up to and you recommend for us to look at.
It's funny, like people have asked me that before. I usually don't have like a handful of designers that I follow or anything. I look at more like artists, not necessarily designers. So James Jean is a really good artist, and his stuff is kind of like inspires me. It's kind of like my style, but like way in another galaxy somewhere. Yeah, I don't really like look at like specific designers per se. I definitely follow trends and look at what's happening and what people are doing, but I don't actually like have like a handful of designers that I follow. So, what about you?
Yeah, similar.
Yeah.
One thing I would say back to like industry trade publications, another one that's design related is Communication Arts.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
That's a great publication. We get a copy of it at our office, and I like to flip through that for inspiration.
Yeah, that one's good too because it tells you exactly who designed it, the firm, everybody that was involved in the project. So if you want to start looking for people to like follow, that's probably a good place to start. And also, I mean, like I said, Behance, there's like a zillion designers on there, and I follow a lot of different people there. Again, it's not really graphic design related, it's more like art related and like illustration, because that's kind of like what I love to do. So that's kind of the people that I tend to follow. Bless you. Yeah. Yes.
Is there anything as a company that you want design, like towards your ethics, what you stand for?
I'm sure there is. We haven't been approached with that or had to face that. So not yet. We haven't had that come up. But I would assume if it was something, that went against our beliefs or our morals or was, controversial.
I mean, when we take on clients, we have a wide range of industries that we work in. We'll never take on the same two clients in the same industry, which is, I think it's pretty ethical. We don't want to double dip, essentially, and we don't want to try to get them both to be number one because I think it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
So when we take on a client in a particular industry, we definitely try to push them to be the best in their industry, and we won't take someone else does the same thing. So we'll never have like, two lawyers or two, any kind of industry we really won't do two.
But only at like
The same time.
the same time.
Correct. Yeah, so it's more like goes on like more retainer basis. Like we're not gonna have two retainer lawyers or whatever.
Yeah.
So one-offs, obviously, once a project is done, if there's another kind of similar one, we'll definitely take it on. Because one will be well versed in their industry, we'll know exactly what's up. So yeah, it's more for like the retainer side. Yeah.
What about difficult clients? Have you ever had to deal with them?
Difficult clients? Yeah.
It definitely happens.
They're out there,
Yeah.
and you'll get to know them. I think the thing that's the most difficult, is, from my experience, is keeping them on track and reining them in. So that's where that timeline comes really important and comes in handy, because it just sets the tone from the get-go that this is our process, and it says to the client, this is our process and this is how we work. And these are the timelines and the dates that we're going to need you to, when we meet our date and give you the creative, we need you to get your answer back to us by this date. And as long as you set that all up in the beginning and they know the expectations, it really solves a lot of potential issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even like going back to like, let's say we design a logo and we present it and they're like, what is this? And they're, upset. So at that point, it's really just communication.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we want to make them happy, but we want to give them something that we feel represents them. So we'll work with them together. It's not like we'll go back and just redo it all over again. And we'll, ask them specifically, what were you thinking it was going to be? Any other like key points that they had in their head. Because they always say something, but then are thinking something else.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just like picking people's brains and getting to like...
It's a lot of psychology.
Yeah. So really just getting to understand what exactly they're looking for and then make it work with like your design and what you feel is the best. So at the end of the day, they're coming to us because they don't have those skills. So we are the experts in it, not them. So it's kind of just that like working with them together to make them happy. But it happens. Not everyone's gonna love everything you do. So don't take anything personal, because I used to do that all the time.
That's probably one of the biggest key points.
Yeah, like as a designer.
Yeah, as a designer.
Yeah, like, everybody likes to get their ego stroked, but when it doesn't happen and they don't like something, it could take a toll sometimes. And I used to let it get to me a lot. Like I would get home and be like, man, I suck. Like I just worked on this for 6 hours and they hate it. But at the end of the day, it's not you. It's just like
difference
the
of
piece
opinion.
itself,
Yeah.
So don't let that get you down. That's one of the biggest things I learned while working is don't take it personal.
Yeah.
So.
And it's hard.
It's definitely hard because you spend a lot of time doing things, and as designers we're already critical of ourselves. So then to hear something from someone else, it's kind of like But you just get through it. But yeah, again, I can't say this enough. Don't take it personal. So.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you do things outside the office, like design work?
I'll do stuff like I'll draw. That's kind of how I got into the field. Like I always had a creative in me. Like I always used to draw, and then I kind of figured I could make it into a career. Took a while to get there because I was an engineering major before I became a designer. So it took a while to get there. But yeah, I do a lot of drawings and stuff like that. If a friend of mine needs something, I'll create something for them. Someone needs a t-shirt, I'll make it. So it's definitely fun to do stuff that's not like your everyday work.
He did his own wedding invitation.
I did my wedding invitations.
Looks amazing.
And building my wedding site now. So it's always fun to explore stuff that's not your everyday. It definitely helps you get more creative and lets you play, because essentially that's what we're doing. We're kind of playing.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to play.
I recommend to that note too to pick up a hobby that's some other form of creativity, whether it be in music or painting or pottery or whatever. Find something. I'm sure you probably already all have that in you from even back when you were a kid, and like foster it. And maybe it's photography, and just really have an outlet to exercise your creativity in another way from behind the computer screen.
Yeah.
Because it's so important.
Definitely. Like right now, like one of my friends does some of the murals around town, and so he can draw, he can replicate really well. But it's also obviously they're like huge sizes. So I don't know if you guys saw, there's like a new Tom Petty mural around town. So I ended up drawing that myself, and then he painted it on the wall because he had kind of a concept, but he couldn't get the style that he wanted. So I ended up illustrating it and then gave it to him, and then him and his wife painted it. So there's different ways to express your creativity, even with graphic design. That's not making an ad or making a logo.
Yeah.
So it's fun. You can do so much. We designed a sign, not just like a flat sign. It was like a brick sign that was all built for a client because they were like, we want a sign, but we don't want it just to be like a flat thing. So we got to design a sign. So that's, there's always opportunities to do something different that's not necessarily like making an ad or, like I said, logos or branding. So definitely explore and see what's out there. There's so much you can do with this. So yeah.
Two quick questions.
Mhm.
Someone's starting out in the company. How much do they typically make annually? And the other question is, do you allow for like a lot of like time off, like paid time off, to kind of like refresh yourself and like throughout the year?
Yeah. So I think the average graphic designer in this market in Gainesville gets paid, I would assume, like $30,000 to $35,000 a year. We pay a little more than that, and that's because we have seasoned talent right now on our team, and we just believe that, helping to keep that talent, that you have to, to do that. Time off, I'm not sure what other companies offer. I know the standard is probably 1 week or 2 weeks paid vacation. So what we do is we have 10 days of paid time off, and then we also pay for the week between Christmas and New Year's. So you actually get 15 days of paid time off.
Basically 3 weeks off, which is great. Yeah. Yeah, not a lot of agencies do that. So definitely look for those benefits when you're out searching.
And then on top of that, like Hector said, we're really flexible people to work for. So, like if you need to go work from the park with your laptop because you just need some inspiration, we're like, yeah, sure, go for it.
Yeah.
As long as the work gets done, I don't really mind where you're working or what you're doing.
Yeah, and like
as long as it's happening.
If you have obviously, if you need a doctor, you have to go to a doctor's appointment. Can't go on the weekends usually, so we'll let them know like, hey, I have an appointment. I'm gonna be gone for an hour. I go for an hour and come back, and it's fine. So it's basically at the end of the day, as long as you're getting your stuff done and it looks good, then it's all peachy keen.
Yeah, I don't know about other employers. Some of them might be hourly, so you have to punch a clock. So then you would be clocking out to go to an appointment. But in our office, it's all salaried. So our office hours are 9 to 5. You get a set salary. You get your set benefits. We offer health insurance also. And, at the end of the day, we just expect that you act professional, get your job done, and treat it like a professional.
Yeah, and it goes back to the culture. That's kind of the culture we've built at Liquid. We're not, you're not like monkeys behind the computer. Like, you guys are people, and we want to have fun, but also enjoy what we're doing, and do it in an environment that's like conducive to that. So
exactly.
Okay, so I think that we have to wrap it up. Any last question?
All
Thank
right.
y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.